Hey everybody, I hope you can hear me okay. My name's Athena Moberg and I'm an adult survivor of childhood sexual abuse, and I show up here every week live and I hang out with you guys, the global community of adult survivors of childhood sexual abuse, and I'm hoping that you guys can hear me okay. I just want to go live really quick. I'm going live on Facebook right now as well, so hold on one second. And okay, I think it's working. So I'm live on Facebook right now on our Trauma Recovery University Facebook page, and I'm live here on YouTube on our Trauma Recovery University YouTube page, YouTube channel, which is also connected to our Roku TV channel, which you can find on any Roku device by searching for Trauma Recovery University. And I'm hoping that the audio is working okay. If you guys can hear me, can you give this video a thumbs up or post a comment or something, just so I know. So, okay, so every single week we have a different live Q&A every single Monday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, here at Trauma Recovery University, also known as the No More Shame Project. And we are also over on Twitter. I don't want to leave out our Twitter peeps. If you're on Twitter right now, or if you don't have access to video, or you know somebody who doesn't have access to video, we have a Twitter chat going on for those that just don't have access to video. And you can use the hashtag No More Shame on Twitter, and you can post your questions, and every single week we have a different topic. So this week's topic was posed by one of our community members, which is how all of our topics come about, really. I got a really awesome, I'm gonna do a screen share here. I don't think the screen share will go onto Facebook, obviously, but I will, unless, hey, I have volunteers that are helping me make this all happen every week. So Matt, if there's any way for you to do a screen share when I put up the screen share on YouTube, and maybe you could post the screen share in the, oh my gosh, Liz is back. Hi, Liz. If Matt, if you could, or if someone could take a screenshot of the screen share of the question I'm posting right now, which is how we got this week's question. And that is, am I moving forward in my recovery journey? That's this week's question. If someone could take a screenshot and then post it on our Trauma Recovery Facebook page, that would be awesome. And then anyone who only has access to Facebook or is over on Facebook, they can have access to it. So this week's question, okay, here we go, guys. I hope you can see that. Awesome. Okay, so our community member, he says, in your videos, you bring up something about doing a chat group for abuse. How does one join one, and when do you have it? So obviously here we are, and I'm so happy that this person asked this originally. Every Monday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern for over 2 years, almost 3 years now, we show up here and we answer everybody's questions. So you just go to Twitter using the hashtag No More Shame, or you can go to the Trauma Recovery University Roku TV channel or YouTube channel and go there. And you can find access, and then we always welcome everybody into safe community if you guys are interested in private secret groups that are just for survivors only and are free from abuse and predators, and everybody just comes and hangs out, and they're peer-led and they're very supportive. So the next question, which is tonight's question, here is, have you done a video on how you know if you are okay to move on to the next step of moving forward? I'm not sure if this is a thing, but I realized today I'm not reacting to things like I once did. Can somebody trying to keep themselves safe be blind to the fact that they're good to do things now? Which I think this is just such a powerful question. And if you're listening on a podcast on iTunes or Stitcher and you don't have access to any of this video, I'm going to try to talk my way through all of this so that you guys can all benefit from it as well. But, you know, I just want you to know that this is a thing. It's an excellent question for so many reasons. First of all, it is a thing. Many survivors, and it's not even just a survivor thing necessarily, but just people in general, they struggle with knowing if, you know, how do I know I'm, you know, reaching my goals, or how do I know, like, I've been struggling for so long. I have these new memories. I'm having symptoms of PTSD. I'm struggling with relationships. I'm struggling financially. I'm struggling in so many different areas of my life. I'm struggling physically. My health is being affected. I don't have as much energy. I'm just really struggling, and I kind of just feel like I'm stuck. And how can I tell, Athena, if I'm really stuck, or if I am making progress and I just can't tell? Because other people sometimes will say, hey, you've really come a long way, or I've noticed that you're acting a little bit different, and you sort of seem like you're feeling better, and you know, these very well-meaning people, these loved ones are telling you, like, wow, I notice some improvement in your life. And meanwhile, we are sort of hobbling through our everyday life wondering, like, oh my gosh, like, what did I forget this time? And am I doing okay? And, you know, I just feel like I'm stuck, like I'm never healing. And like I go 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, 1 step forward, 4 steps back. And I just don't know if I'm making any progress. So yes, it's definitely a thing. And I have some really actionable steps that I'm going to share with you on some screen shares later on, which I already tweeted out. If you guys are on the hashtag No More Shame, then you'll see that I already sent out 3 tweets prior to the chat even starting. And I'm going to be going through those and just showing you how you can make sure that you have the tools that you need. Here, let me stop screen sharing now so I can look at you guys in the face. I want to make sure you guys have the tools you need to know whether or not you're progressing in your recovery journey. I want you guys to be able to know if you're doing better. I want you to be able to know if it's okay to sort of move to the next step. What is the next step? How do I know if I'm actually even healing? I don't really feel like I'm healing, Athena. I really just feel like I'm still struggling all the time. So how do I know? So first, I want to just, before I go into our screen shares, which I normally will do in a little bit, but I just want to just check and see if you guys have any questions for me yet that you've sent in on this topic, because I want to make sure I'm answering your questions. And you guys on our YouTube, hi Beth, I'm so excited to see you. Okay, I can't see everybody on Twitter and everybody on YouTube, and okay. All right. Okay, so I have a question that's come in from JJ. JJ says, it's definitely easy to feel like I'm not making any progress. I feel like I'm getting nothing out of the work and the counseling that I'm doing. So this is super duper duper common. First of all, thank you, JJ, for speaking up and for having the courage to do that. I just want to just like look at you and just let you know, like, you're not alone. This is something that all of us struggle with. This is not an easy thing. First of all, I just want to put some things into perspective. So if you guys are new here and this is your first time, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so excited that you're here. And if you're here, if you come back, you're here every single week, or you've been gone a while and now you're back, I'm so happy you're here. First of all, JJ, this is something that every single one of us has asked ourselves. And I want to say, I mean, I can only speak for myself, but I hear from clients all the time, like, I feel like I'm forking out all this money for therapy and counseling, and I don't even know if I'm even doing any better. So how do I know if I'm doing any better? And I can understand, I've felt that way myself. In fact, I felt that way probably for several years until I realized that I could actually sort of track my progress. And I don't know if it's because tracking my progress wasn't something that it was a thing, or if, you know, somebody didn't tell me about it, or if I just didn't want to put in the work. But I remember my very, very, very first counselor once told me, oh, Sue Swan is posting a question on Facebook. I'm gonna try to come back and read your question, Sue Swan. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome. So my very first counselor, her name was Kelly. Hey, Marie, or is it Mary? I think I'm saying your name wrong. Hi, I'm so happy you're here. My very first counselor said, you know, I really want you to start asking yourself why. And I didn't understand what she meant. And, you know, she walked me through what it is that she was talking about. And what she was basically saying to me was, you know, you're going to come across a lot of different feelings throughout your day. At any given point of the day, Athena, you're going to be feeling either overwhelmed, or you're going to be feeling pretty joyful and like, wow, I feel better than I felt in a while. And I'm kind of worried this isn't going to last. And, you know, that can be a little disconcerting as well. Or you know, feel really sad, or like all of a sudden you feel rage or like anger and you don't even know where it came from. And I want you to start asking yourself why. The moment you realize you're feeling something, I want you to start asking yourself why. And to me, like, this whole counseling thing at the time, this is 17 years ago. So it was very woo-woo to me. I didn't even know what woo-woo was, but I knew that it was a little out there for me to go like, oh, why? You know, it sounded very like, you know, the universe, why? Why am I here? Who am I? Why? And it sounded kind of airy-fairy to me, I guess. And I didn't really understand the impact of what it is she was trying to share until I actually had one of those moments. It's kind of like one of those God moments where like, God, if you're real, you know, make yourself real to me. Like, show me that you're real. And then all of a sudden, like, you kind of have this thing happen and you're like, whoa, like, was that kind of a God thing or what? I had one of those moments in counseling. I kind of was like, well, if this whole why thing is anything, then I'm going to try it. And so I went to the market, and mind you, this is 17 years ago. So for 39 cents, I bought one of those black and white composition books. I don't even know if they have them anymore, but they were just like this like little notebook that was like probably a half an inch thick. And it was not even the size of like a real notebook page. It was probably about like 5 inches by 8 inches or something, some weird size. And the pages don't come out unless you rip the whole thing and it's messy. It's not like a neat thing at all, but it was just this little composition book. And I started sort of like, I would write down like how I was feeling at the end of a day. I started doing it at like the end of the day. I feel this way. Why? And so I would try to put, well, you know, I felt really angry. Why? Well, because someone cut me off on the freeway. Well, why? Well, I don't know why they cut me off, but I think the reason I felt as frustrated as I did is because I left the house probably like, you know, I thought I left on time, but then I ended up having, you know, one of the lights was broken. And so I had a little bit of traffic. And then, you know, it started off with something so simple as like, why am I so angry and frustrated? Because somebody cut me off on the freeway. Now, mind you, I was living in Southern California. It's like a regular thing there. So me writing down why I was frustrated in traffic turned into me starting to write down why I felt lonely, why I felt sad, why did I feel happy, why did I feel abandoned, why did I feel filled with rage, like uncontrollable, I don't know what I'm angry about, I'm just angry at the world rage. And I just started writing these things down. And, you know, when it was time to meet with her again, I actually said to her, I said, you know, I have to confess to you, I kind of thought that the whole why thing was pretty lame. And, you know, I didn't think that it was a big deal at all. But I have to share with you, like, the things that I wrote down regarding why. And I just want to share this with you. So she dug deeper into my whys. And it's almost like I shared with you, I shared with some of our group members in one of our private groups. I did a live stream and I talked previously on this channel. When you pull the thread on the sweater and then the whole sweater unravels down around your feet and you no longer have a sweater, you have a pile of thread. when she sort of pulled on the thread of my why on something, and she just kept going, and she kept going, and she kept going. And it just would go everything went all the way back to things I couldn't remember. Now, mind you, 17 years ago, I was 20. Oh my goodness, I'm so old right now. I can't even think how old I was. Oh my goodness. So I was 26, probably 26 at the time. So it was really early. I wasn't really having a lot of really vivid memories. But regarding my childhood sexual abuse and regarding my child abuse in general, and just recovery and trying to live a whole life and be a good mom and just really fully embrace this experience of life instead of sort of hobbling through and getting stuck in the same patterns, I would get to a point where she would pull on the string and she would pull on it a little farther, and then I would just have a block and I wouldn't have any answers. And I would be like, I really don't know. I don't know. I don't really remember. And so I was at a point in my 20s when I couldn't remember my childhood. And that was very frustrating for me. And I said to myself, I will never heal. I will never heal if I can't remember. I think I need to remember if I'm ever going to heal. And my counselor said something that I'll never forget. And she said, you don't need to remember to heal, but when you do remember, it's important that you allow yourself to feel everything that comes along with those memories. Otherwise, you won't be able to heal. And it took me a really long time to understand the gravity of that statement and what exactly it is that she meant. And I was really grateful that I started that whole why thing. I mean, it led me to some interesting conversations. I remember calling a guy that I had dated, and I remember apologizing to him. I remember once I, had gone through this whole why thing for a while, I started understanding, like, I remember him asking me what I was looking for in a relationship. Now, mind you, this was a tall, gorgeous, amazing man who was kind. He was a single dad. And he was really looking for like a long-term relationship. He wanted he wanted to make a family. He wanted to not only have like a stepmom for his son, but he wanted to be a stepdad to somebody else's child as well, mine. And like it was a potential thing. And he was really, really, really wonderful. But since he was so wonderful, I thought for sure the rug was going to get ripped out from underneath me. Because hello, it's good, so something bad's got to come from it. Like that's just what our abuse teaches us, especially if we were groomed for like a long period of time during our abuse. And we began to see very rapidly that when child abuse predators groom you, they meet your needs and they make sure that there is good. And why would you turn away good? And they even hold it over your head a little bit like, well, you like this, don't you? Like, why wouldn't you like gifts? Or why wouldn't you like candy? Or why wouldn't you like money? Or, you don't have that, but I have it for you. So, why, and they make it very, very, very evident. So since I was groomed, I took that into my adult life. I know this now because I'm an adult and I'm looking back, but I didn't know this as a child. And I didn't know this even in my 20s and my early 30s. But I had taken that whole, if someone's being nice to me and they are good, they're going to end up hurting me. And it's going to be bad. And it's going to be really bad and really, really painful. So welcome, Sarah. Welcome, Sarah Ann. I'm so happy you're here. I'm going to try to get some Facebook questions in, you guys. But I just want to finish what I'm telling you about the why. So JJ, I've felt the exact same way you're feeling. And it's natural for us to feel that way. And it wasn't until I allowed myself to really kind of, and it sounds so lame, I can't believe I'm saying this out loud because I kind of swore I never would, but it wasn't until I started to trust the process and really grasp the fact that everything I was going through was temporary and that there was going to be an aha moment. Just by faith, I had to believe that there was going to be an aha moment. There was going to be some breakthroughs. I was going to somehow have some hard evidence to show me that I was making some progress. So I took that why exercise that Kelly gave me, and I took those words that she shared with me, and I carried them with me really close to my heart, and I held on to them. And it wasn't until I had another counselor that I did some EMDR with. And EMDR, Harriet, if you could pop up on the YouTube video here, I don't know if it will show up on Facebook. I don't think it will, but maybe I can have Harriet post the link to this particular video on Facebook. But it's a video that Bobby and I did on EMDR. And so if you're not familiar with EMDR, it stands for eye movement desensitization reprocessing. And it's how we can actually make new memories and make new roads so that when we're triggered and we go to one place, we can actually train our brain to go to another place. Why can we do that? Because the brain is plastic, hence the word neuroplasticity. So I'm not saying it's actually polyurethane. I'm saying that the brain is moldable and shapeable, and we can actually make new neural pathways. So JJ, I hope that was helpful for you. I have another question that came through on either Twitter or YouTube. Oh my gosh, I have a ton of questions. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna go up and I'm just gonna try to see if I can get. I'm gonna see if I can get a Facebook question answered. Hi, Sarah. Oh my gosh. Hi. Oh, I'm so happy to see you. Tell Bobby I said hi. Oh my gosh, I love you guys. Hi, Megan. Okay. Oh, Matt, thank you. You're amazing. Matt is moderating YouTube along with, I'm sure Jack is there as well. And he's also moderating Twitter, and he's also moderating Facebook for me. So thanks for all the volunteers. And thank you to Kalisha and her awesome memes. And you should follow our, Kalisha manages the Instagram account for Survivor Community. So it's a whole bunch of us survivors, and she posts some awesome stuff there. Okay, so Sue Swan says, I've been so focused on Pizzagate and justice since myself and mine did not receive any justice from the police, I'm guessing. Oh, the question got cut off. Oh no, I'm trying to see the whole question, but it won't come out. Oh, Sue, you're in New Zealand. It's super early there, isn't it? Or no, maybe is it 1 o'clock in the afternoon? No, I think it's early, I think it's morning there. You might be healing. I agree. Hi, Jeff. Jeff, oh my gosh, it's so good to see you. Thank you for your Christmas card. Okay. All right, let me see here. Those aha moments never end as we continue our healing pursuit. That is so right, Sarah Ann. Oh my goodness. So I'm going to answer some more questions from Twitter and YouTube here. And JJ, I hope that answer was helpful for you. If it was or wasn't, will you let me know? But it's easy to feel like you're not making any progress until you have something tangible, which I'm going to do 3 screen shares, and all of the attachments have been tweeted out, and then maybe we could post on Facebook after the fact. We could post those screen shares, their attachments. I made them attachments. Anybody who got the image attachments on Twitter, maybe you could go put them on Facebook if you're allowed to. I'm not sure. But that would be awesome, so everybody can benefit from those. There are 3 awesome sheets that will help you know if you're making progress in your recovery. So Alexandra Shoop says, I struggle with this all the time. My therapist said before she went on maternity leave that I'm making huge strides and I don't see it. Oh my goodness. Alexandra, I've definitely felt that same way. I'm going to make sure that you guys have the tools you need. All you have to do is use them, though. I can't make you use them. It's like giving you a free gym membership for Christmas. Like, I could give it to you, but unless you go to the gym, then you won't experience the results. So I'm going to make sure that you have the gym membership, that you're going to have to go to the gym. I'm going to make sure you guys have the resources you need to track your progress and to know if you're making progress in your recovery, and you can actually have it documented. It's a little bit of work, but I'm telling you, it is light bulb moments galore once you actually look at, like, oh my gosh, look where I was a year ago, look where I was a month ago, look where I was even a week ago. I'm reacting differently to things. I'm not reacting to things. I'm actually responding instead of reacting. It's amazing. I see progress. Like, I just want to make sure you guys have that. So I'm going to continue to check Facebook. And Alexander, thank you so much for sharing. I believe your therapist, and by the way, I mean, I don't lie to my clients, so I have a hard time. I know that some helping professionals are not the greatest, but I'm hoping that you have a great therapist and that she's being honest with you and she's just reflecting back to you how awesome you're doing so that you know that you're making progress in your recovery, because it will help us so much if we feel like we're making progress, you know? So, gosh, let me see. Willow says, I don't want to make anyone sad, so how can I talk about it if it makes them sad? Does that happen to anyone? Oh my gosh, Willow, I had this conversation with my husband this weekend. Okay, you guys. Okay, this is like real, mask off, real. So my husband's not a survivor, okay? My husband was raised in a perfect environment. He will tell you, he'll be the first one to tell you that. He'll be the first one to tell you, my childhood was perfect. I had perfect parents. I have a perfect brother and a perfect sister, and I lived in a perfect home, and it was amazing. And you know, what that looks like for us, the survivors, it means that all of his basic needs were met. He had food, safety, shelter, clothing, love, approval, acceptance, encouragement, kindness. He had role models. What the heck? Like, what does that even mean? What does that look like? So, so my husband doesn't have a frame of reference for a lot of things that I go through. And so, Willow, oh my gosh. So since I don't want to, like, I used to be in that same place that you're in, Willow, where I was like, well, I don't want to talk about it because he doesn't get it. And then I don't want to talk about it to like other people that do get it, or even if they don't, because then they're like, they give me the like, wah, wah, like the sympathy face. And I just can't stand the sympathy face. Sunflower, I'm so happy to see you. Hello, welcome back. I haven't seen you in so long. I hope that you guys can still hear me and see me. Okay. Oh, there's like 40 something of you on YouTube. And then like, I'm sure there's just that many on Twitter. And then there's 6 of you on Facebook. So this is so awesome. I'm so happy. But Willow, I want to tell you about this conversation that I had with my husband. So we were having just a normal quiet time in the morning. In the mornings, we read our Bibles together. We share encouraging quotes, encouraging different stories and devotionals that we subscribe to online, and books. And we spend quiet time together in the mornings. And we were doing a Bible study. Our church is doing a Bible study, and it's called Virtue and Valor. And it's women studying virtue and then men studying valor. And so the topic right now is the Lord's Prayer. And we were talking about like forgiving our trespassers God forgiving us our trespasses as we forgive those who have trespassed against us. And like trespass is used as like, you know, hurt, sin, bad. Like forgive us the things that we've done that are hurtful as we forgive those who have hurt us. And I'm like, you just don't even get it. And I went on this big long thing with my husband about forgiveness, and I dissected it, and I described the difference between forgiveness and reconciliation. And I'm like, forgiveness is not for the perpetrator. Forgiveness is not for the person that hurt you. Forgiveness is for the person who was hurt, because if we let it go and we release the need to change the past, then we're set free, and then we're no longer in this prison of unforgiveness and bitterness. And I said, but that's not reconciliation. Reconciliation is different. Reconciliation is when someone actually is remorseful for what they've done, and they come to you, and then you're actually reconciled to them, and you're back into relationship with them, and it's healthy. And my community doesn't understand that. They don't have that. There are people that hurt them. They are never apologizing, and they're never reconciled to them because they don't feel bad, because they're predatory. And I just went off on this whole thing. And so he's so used to getting like an earful from me about everything. Hi, Julie. Hi, Julie. I'm so happy to see you. And so he's so used to getting the earful, and he's so used to me going like, wow, know, like mama bear, like you don't understand my community, and I have 1 billion people statistically that are sexually abused before their 18th birthday, and they're all on the planet right now, and the likelihood of them being reconciled is so small, and do you understand that you can't tell everybody to forgive their abusers? And we're just doing a Bible study, folks. My poor husband. So we come to a part of our Bible study when we're talking about something, and then I share something really, really personal about my own childhood experience and my childhood sexual abuse. And part of the thing I shared with him was about my exploitation and about how I was sort of pimped out and traded, and how devastating that was for me, and how that just was like really, like, it's rocked my world. It's really shaken me to my core. And like, you know, my worth was nothing. My worth was literally not that much. Like, you know, especially back in the day, it must have been like 20 bucks, you know? So to say that a human life, my life, was only worth like 20 bucks, I mean, it was like super devastating for me. And I've had to like forgive that and grieve that and like mourn that loss. And the grieving and the mourning and all of that has just been super painful. And my husband has had a front row seat to all of the pain. And so for him, I'm getting to a point, Willow. So for him, if I'm sharing something personal, he's afraid to show sadness. He is afraid to show any emotion whatsoever. None. He does his best to remain completely calm and not show any anger, sadness, anything, whatever, because he was of the impression, even though it was wrong of him to think this, in my opinion, he was of the opinion, and he had gathered through all of the years that we've been together, 7 years we've been together, that if he shows emotion, I'm going to stay stuck and I'm not going to heal. And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Hi, T. It's great to see you. I'm happy you're here. And so I had to gather my composure and ask him if he had some time to talk later. And we sat down, and I had to begin to share with him. Now, Willow, I don't know if the people that you're afraid to share with are really close to you, like a spouse, but I'll walk through a different scenario with you guys in a moment, which will possibly help. But this is if you're like in close relationship with someone, like a spouse or like a partner relationship. So I had to share with my husband, when you are completely disinterested and show no emotion, and you're completely indifferent to the pain that I have endured and the losses that I have grieved in my life, and I've had to accept the reality that my worth was so little to some of my loved ones, that they continued to be abusive, dismissive, they didn't care, or they continued to abuse, they continued to enable the abuse. I said, I feel so, so, so alone, and it is devastating for me, and I feel like I will never heal. But if you were to acknowledge what it is that I'm saying, I feel like I would heal faster. I feel like I would have more of a likelihood to heal. And he was shocked. He said, I thought it was the opposite. I'm so mindful and careful of the words I say to you, because I know that if I say the wrong thing, it can be devastating for you. So I am silent because I don't want to hurt you. And so in his very well-meaningness, hi, Amber. I'm so happy you're here. Oh, awesome. Oh, yes. Sunflower, I'll answer your question in just 1 second. I promise. I promise. Okay. So I had to calmly share with him that when you show indifference, it is devastating for me, and it minimizes what I've gone through. And I need you to bear witness to my reality and let me help you. And I walked him through. I said, if it's me or anyone shares with you something painful that they've gone through, the safest thing for you to say is, I am so sorry that you went through that. No one deserves to be treated that way. I'm so sorry. And I'm here. I don't know what to say, but I'm here. And he was just almost moved to tears. He didn't know that that was okay to say. So I think, Willow, what I would love for you to know, and maybe you've even tried this, is sometimes people just don't have like any type of frame of reference, and they're just like, so they are sad. It is sad that we were abused. Like, but when we base our actions and we change our actions depending on what other people are going to respond and what way they're going to respond, then that actually is an unhealthy coping strategy on our part. And I had to learn this the hard way, because we can't control their emotions and we become sort of codependent and we stay silent because we're afraid of a response. So it's almost like people pleasing, right? And I was in the place that you were in, Willow, probably for about 10 years. And it was a painful place to be. It wasn't until I chose to speak my truth and live my truth, regardless of other people's response, that I actually felt like I had some freedom. And I was actually like, wow, I'm making some progress now. Why? Because I'm bearing witness to my reality. My reality and my truth deserves to be acknowledged. And I need to acknowledge it. So hopefully that's helpful, Willow. But man, talk about timing. I literally just had this conversation with my husband 2 days ago. 2 days ago. So they just sometimes, y'all, people do not know what to say. They just don't know what to say. They are at a loss for words. And they do feel sad. And child abuse is sad, especially, you know, all forms of child abuse is sad. All forms of abuse are sad. And it is sad that anyone would take an innocent child and would mar them and harm them and hurt them and damage them and make it impossible for them to live a normal life. It is just devastating. So I want to encourage you, Willow, the same way that I had a counselor encourage me. Actually, it was a coach that encouraged me, and that was, own it. Whatever your truth is, own it. You deserve to own your truth, regardless of someone else's response. And there is such power in that. I want you to feel powerful in knowing that you can share your truth regardless of what someone else says or thinks. And if you're afraid to practice that and to just be yourself and to share your story, you know, we have safe groups. You can practice these things in private with a whole bunch of us who will never judge you. You know, practice in private first and then practice in public. You know, I just want to invite you, Willow. So hopefully Willow's still here. And if not, will someone reach out to her, please, either in the YouTube chat or on Twitter or on Facebook or wherever it is that she might be. I would love for her to know that she is welcome to join us and practice in private so that she can feel more comfortable in public. Hunter, what's up, recovery buddy? Hunter says, Athena, can you be making progress in a certain area with no subconscious evidence? For example, the bed still makes me hypervigilant. I've been struggling with shaming myself in this area. Yeah, I don't know if it's possible that we're making progress with no subconscious evidence. My gut feeling is if a bed still makes you hypervigilant because perhaps your abuse happened in that bed, then I would, is there a way for you to share that? I know that we've talked privately, Hunter. Is there a way for you to share with someone, like a loved one? Is there a way you can get like a different bed? Is it every single bed? And have you talked with your counselor about that, your therapist, about the bed making you hypervigilant? I know what it's like to shame yourself about something like that. I personally shamed myself for a lot of different things that were kind of similar. And, you know, it wasn't until I allowed myself to feel all the feelings I was feeling. And it helped me to sort of talk out loud, you know, like talk out loud about the fears I'm having, you know, and like, this is my, you know, maybe something like this, like, you know, this is my bed, and, you know, my bed is pure, and my bed is safe. And, you know, I don't know if I know you personally, Hunter, so I know you believe in the power of prayer, but I mean, I would like pray over my bed, you know, I don't know if that would help, or you could talk to someone that's there in your home, like a loved one. I just feel like that would be super duper helpful so that you could actually, someone again will bear witness to your truth and your reality. And I know that might not be something that you're ready for, but I just want to encourage you to maybe talk about it more in the groups so that we can all like sort of encourage you in that way. I hope that was helpful. Let me know, please. Deborah says, I started EMDR a month ago and my recovery feels like it's gone backwards. Is this normal? My therapist is also treating me using ego state therapy. I would need to look into ego state therapy, Deborah, and I would need to look more into that. But EMDR, usually you begin to feel sort of a shift in a positive way within the first month. So, I would talk with your therapist and just be very honest with them. Like, I'm not questioning your skills, but you know, my EMDR seems to be, I feel a regression in my progress. I feel like I'm more triggered and I'm not feeling relief like I believe I should be. I would definitely speak with your therapist openly about that. And I will personally have to look into ego state therapy because I'm not well versed in that particular modality and I'm not able to comment on that. But I can find, or if there are any helping professionals that are here tonight and you have knowledge of ego state therapy, or if Sarah is with Bobby, maybe Bobby has knowledge of ego state therapy and maybe she'd be able to comment. I'm not 100% sure about it though. But I hope that was helpful, Deborah. I don't feel like I was helpful at all, actually. But have you been able to talk with your therapist openly about the fact that the EMDR isn't helping? Because you can't be the only person that's felt this way. I mean, I have clients that started EMDR with an EMDR practitioner, and they didn't feel, they felt worse the first 3 weeks, but then on the 4th week or so, it was like, okay, I'm finally starting to like, wow, I feel so much better. So, Rachel Grant has some awesome information on EMDR. Maybe someone could ask her, tweet her, or send her a message because she might also have more information on ego state therapy as well. And I'm bringing her on this program, actually. I'm actually going to be interviewing Rachel Grant here, which is going to be amazing. Oh my goodness, I have so many more of you. Thanks for being here, you guys. I have more questions coming in on Facebook, you guys, so I'm going to look really quick on Facebook. Let's see. Sunflower Reed says, why do many survivors struggle with so much depression and anxiety or other mental illness? I am wondering. Thank you for asking that, Sunflower. So sexual abuse, childhood sexual abuse, it doesn't just affect our sexual organs. It doesn't only affect us. In fact, depending on when your sexual abuse occurred, your brain was actually damaged during that time. So let's say it was in your formative years, early childhood development, like between the ages of 0 and 7, your chemical levels, your hormone levels in your body, we're talking about adrenaline, we're talking about cortisol, we're talking about that state of fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Like if you're you're traumatized. In order to cope with the trauma, your adrenaline goes up, your cortisol goes, everything, all your chemicals and your hormones go wonky. Wonky, that's super technical medical term there, wonky, you know, guys. Remember, this is a lived experience program. Please do not send me hate mail. But I just want you to know, Sunflower, that mental illness, anxiety, depression, all of that, everything you mentioned, when our brains, our frontal lobes are literally soaking in a pool of toxic soup for years, depending on how long you were being sexually abused as a child or abused emotionally, physically, verbally, otherwise, it corrodes your brain and it arrests your development. It arrests your brain development. In fact, You guys always know I refer to this, and someone has it handy. Please tweet out and post over on Facebook the MRI pictures of a healthy brain versus an abused brain. Like, the short answer, Sunflower, is brain damage, which stays with you until we address the trauma, and then we recover and we start feeding ourselves in healthy ways, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, overall health, a holistic approach, meaning the whole body, mind, body, soul, everything. That's my answer. Sorry, Sunflower, I know it was long. I'm sorry. I didn't know that was too long. I'll try to be more brief, but that's my answer. Healing Faith, I'm sure Matt is getting your questions over on YouTube. She says, I just found out my therapist is not trauma-informed therapist. I haven't gotten to all of the questions on YouTube yet. I was bouncing back and forth. So I'll go here. Healing Faith says, I just found out my therapist is not a trauma-informed therapist. I did get a hold of a therapist here in my town. Oh, and then it's cut off. No, your brain damage isn't permanent until we address it. There is a such thing as permanent brain damage. But remember, there is our brains, thanks to neuroplasticity, we have hope. Our brains are pliable, meaning through psychotherapy and EMDR and different modalities, we can make new roads, new neural pathways. So I hope that answers your question, Liz. Healing Faith, I don't have your whole question. It's like blocked off. Oh, Sunflower. Oh, Sunflower, your abuse was long. My answer wasn't too long. I'm so sorry. Thank you for clarifying. I'm so sorry. Hi, Jenna. I'm so happy to see you. Let me go and try to get to some more questions from YouTube since everybody's over there right now. Deborah says, I started EMDR a month ago. Oh yeah, we talked about that. Deborah, I will need to look further into ego state therapy. And I also would encourage you to speak with your therapist very openly and let your therapist know that you're feeling worse and not better. It's important that we are very assertive and that we advocate for ourselves. You guys, Harriet, can you please pop up a video right here on the YouTube, about self-advocacy, that video I did on self-advocacy, and if you could please post a link to that video over on Facebook in the comment section of this video on Facebook. You guys, we have to advocate for ourselves, and it's super important. Lizzie Mitchell, hi. I'm so happy to see you. I messaged you on Facebook. Lizzie says, I want to move to my first apartment, but I'm too scared to do it. I feel like I won't be able to make it alone. Is it weird? Is it weird to move to your first apartment, or is it weird that you think you won't be able to make it? Both answers, I would say it is a little bit weird to move out onto your own for the first time. And no, I don't think it's weird that you are afraid that you won't be able to make it alone. I think that's natural. I lived in the confines of my family's home for 17 years. It was horrifically abusive, more abusive than anyone will admit, because as you know, abusers deny, deny, deny. That's what they do. They create a false reality, making you think that you're the one that did something wrong, even though they're the ones that are like into like drugs and violence and police activity and screaming and yelling and hitting and cursing and sexual abuse and all kinds of crazy stuff. But yeah, I'm the problem. So I lived in the midst of that type of environment for 17 years. And then I was told that I wasn't allowed to live there anymore, which is weird because, I mean, and then I felt rejected. So on top of like being completely and totally abused for 17 years of my life, I was rejected and unwelcome in my own home. So that was devastating. So moving out onto my own wasn't really my own because I moved in with my boyfriend, who is my son's dad. boyfriend at the time. We had met each other 3 years prior, and we had dated off and on, kept in touch. But there we were, living in the same house. And yeah, we became pregnant. We got married. And I ended up moving with my son. I was a single mom and tried to make it on my own. And it was really hard. I don't think it's strange at all that you're afraid to move out on your own for the first time. I would research it and look into it. And, you know, right now in this day and age that we live in, Google is your friend. You know, you can Google. In fact, there is a really awesome website, and I can't think of the name of it right now. But it helps millennials who are in their 20s learn how to do life things, like adulting. It might be, the website might be adulting, or I think it might be called like Grow the F Up or something. But it's kind of like written from a very snarky sort of satirical point of view. So the voice of the website might be kind of triggering for you because they are very, like, you know, a little bit demeaning and ridiculous in the way that they talk. But I have benefited. I'm a 43-year-old person that benefits from this website because there are things I didn't learn in my childhood. I do need to grow the F up in a lot of ways because I didn't even know. Like, I didn't know that there were things I didn't know that I didn't learn. So I'm still learning to this day. You're in your 20s, Lizzie, and I'm in my 40s. And when you are abused during childhood, when other kids are learning how to wash behind their ears and wash their private parts, and how to, you know, dry in between your toes so that you don't get, you know, athlete foot or something, or learning how to wash your clothes in the washing machine, or, you know, learning how to eat vegetables and balance meals and take vitamins and all that other, when other kids are learning how to do that, I was learning how to survive and be pimped out and, you know, live through abuse and police activity. So I didn't have time for normal things and to learn normal things. And you probably didn't either, because Lizzie, I know I have the privilege and honor of knowing a little bit of your story, and you lived through a lot of the same stuff I lived through. So it is likely that you would benefit from this website. I want to say it's called Grow the F Up or something. Anyway, adulting is a hard thing. It just is. Adulting is hard. You heard it here, folks. Adulting is hard. Let's see. I know, newsflash, right? I hope that was helpful, Lizzie. I don't think it's weird at all. I don't think it's weird at all. I'm so happy you're asking, because it's not weird. And you can learn how to adult right along with the rest of us, because you're welcome here. Charlie, hi Charlie. Charlie says, I was in a bad place 2 years ago. Therapy has helped me immensely. I'm definitely not the same person I was. Healing and recovery does happen. Baby steps. Amen. Woo woo. High fives. Where's my confetti? Goodness gracious. Joey says, I feel like I'm stuck in my journey because I just found out my therapist is not a trauma-informed therapist. The nearest trauma-informed therapist is over 45 miles away. Any suggestions? Grr. My suggestion to you, Joey, is that you find someone that you can afford, that will meet with you virtually, that is trauma-informed, or you find a way to make that drive 45 miles. Because getting the proper care, you guys, you deserve trauma-informed care. You deserve trauma-informed care. I don't know how else to say it. You deserve trauma-informed care. You on Facebook, you here on YouTube and Roku, and you listening on podcasts, and you over on Twitter. You guys, you all deserve trauma-informed care. You deserve the most excellent care possible, and there is no excuse for any therapist to not be trauma-informed these days. It is just ignorance on their part, and ignorance, folks, is a choice. In this day and age that we live in, ignorance is a choice. And I will not be seeing a therapist anytime soon that chooses to remain ignorant about trauma. I just won't. Why? Because we're worth it. Remember, because we're worth it. I think that needs to be my tagline. Because we're worth it. That's why we're doing all the things. We're doing all the things because we're worth it. Joey, you deserve better. I'm right there with you. Grr, like mama bear, like rar, like, yeah, you deserve, because we're worth it. Because we're worth it. I'm going to go up here to Facebook and try to see if there are more questions here. Liz, you moved out for the first time ever. I'm so happy. I have the privilege of knowing a little bit of your story, and I'm so happy for you. Oh my gosh. I am celebrating with you right now, Liz. That has to be a little bit scary, but I'm so proud of you, and I'm here to support you. All of us are here to support you unconditionally. That's amazing. Jenna says, hi, Jenna. Oh, you guys, Matt tweeted out that image of the healthy brain versus the abused brain. So if you're on Twitter, look at the hashtag no more shame. And you guys, just Google it. Healthy brain versus abused brain. You'll be like, mind blown, seriously. Jenna says, I left my wackadoodle family and I moved on my own at 16. Very scary. How many of us have a wackadoodle family? Is that a hashtag? Dang, talk about a perfect descriptor. Yes, it was very scary, I'm sure, Jenna, but oh my word, I hope that it was helpful for you. Megan, hi Megan. Hi Amber. Oh my goodness. Oh yes. Liz has found support through her community. Right on. And also through us. Yay. You guys, we are helping one another. We are changing lives. It's amazing what you all do here. You guys are amazing. That's what's going on. Amazing. Okay, I'm going to go back over here. Willow, has anyone else spoken about stuff in therapy and only to realize that they have made that narrative up themselves because they don't actually remember? Or is that just me? I had to tell my therapist. Okay, wait a second. I had a client tell me that they were making up their memories. I'm like, why would you make up your memories? I don't know. I just think I made them up. Why do you think you made them up? Now, Willow, I'm not saying this is you. Willow, I'm not saying this is you. But it is rare in my line of work that any of my peeps, any of my clients, any of my community members make up the memories themselves. What ends up being the case, and I'm not saying this is you, not saying this is you. What has ended up being the case for them is they had convinced themselves that they were making up their memories because the reality was too horrific for them to behold. The reality of the memories they were having was too horrific for them to process, and so they had convinced themselves that their memories must not be true, that they were just making them up. One of their family members, then after about 6 months, they remembered very vividly that one of their family members, when they went to one of their family members several years prior and tried to share their memory with their family member, the family member, the loved one in air quotes, said, you must be making up your memories. Those aren't real memories. You have what's called false memory syndrome. Those aren't real. But it turns out my client actually realized later on that the memories were real. And the way they knew they were real is they were traveling somewhere. I forget what it was. And then they got off the freeway when they were on their way somewhere. They smelled something when they got off the freeway off-ramp. And the smell that they smell, remember we talk a lot on this channel about how the sense of smell is precognitive. In other words, if you smell something and it's triggering, it triggers you before your brain knows you're even triggered, because the sense of smell is precognitive. So they ended up having full physical memories, body memories of abuse that had happened to them because they smelled a certain smell. And then they ended up telling me I didn't make up my memories. They were real. And I just remembered that I tried to tell somebody about my memories and they told me my memories were not real, that they were made up. Which means that my client, the person that I'm telling you about, was being gaslit. Google the term gaslighting. Harriet, can you please, I don't know if I've ran out of YouTube cards because you can only do 5, folks. I think it's 5. But Harry, if you could please pop up a YouTube card and then link it down below and then link it over on Facebook, the video we did on gaslighting. Bobby and I did a video on gaslighting. Holy Lord. Talk about psychological warfare. That's what gaslighting is. Psychological warfare. So Willow, I am not sure if your memories are really made up, or I think an indicator would be, like, I would guess I would want to know maybe perhaps how old you were. If you're early on, perhaps in your 20s, maybe early 30s, I would give it some time before I just canceled it all out. I want you to receive the support that you deserve. And I haven't heard of anybody just making up memories for funsies. No one makes up this shit, like, that I know of. Like, no one decides one day, I know, I'm going to make up a story that I was horrifically humiliated in the most personal and disgusting and private way, and I'm going to make it public so I can feel crappy forever. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. You know, like, there aren't very many people that I know of that that's actually the deal. Like, their memories are really real, and then they're ashamed of the memories, and so they convince themselves that the memories aren't real. And then someone else who is heavily invested in the memories not being real because they don't want the family secrets to get out, they convince the person that they're making it all up, and they gaslight that person all to kingdom come. So I don't know. Anybody else? If you guys have some help for Willow, then put it in the comments below. But I haven't heard. That's a first for me. Just T137, welcome, by the way. I'm so happy you're here. Says, my counselor says if I could say or write the names for what's happened to me, I would be able to move forward more. Do I need to? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I know that this is painful for you. I want to look in your face right now, Just T. I'm just going to call you T. Just T. What's your name? T. Just T. I'm assuming your name is T. Just T. T, if we don't fully acknowledge and accept what happened to us, we will never heal. And I wish that wasn't the case. Harry, if I still have YouTube cards left, could you please pop up the video that Bobby and I did on accepting the reality of our abuse? It was a 2-hour special, and it was done about 3 months ago, I believe. Gosh, where do I get all the, like, I literally have a catalog in my brain. Please, if you don't see a link pop up here, it's because I ran out of links, you guys. You can only do so many on YouTube. But look on this YouTube channel for accepting the reality of your abuse. And it walks you through, and I believe there's even a 1-page. And it's super important. It is very, very, very difficult to heal from childhood abuse if we don't acknowledge it and accept it for what it is. It is so painful to acknowledge. But my goodness, it is helpful when we do. We are able to heal more rapidly and more fully. I hope that helps you, T. And I'm so sorry you've gone through whatever you've gone through. You don't deserve that. No one deserves that. No one deserves whatever you've been through. So I hope you get the support you deserve. And if you're not plugged into our safe communities and you want to be, then go to the About section of our YouTube channel and reach out because we're worth it. Because we're worth it. Okay. Oh, Amber over on Facebook. Oh, thank you, Matt. Matt just posted over on Facebook the link to accepting the reality of our abuse. Thank you so much, Matt. You're like Superman tonight. Goodness gracious. Y'all, I need some more volunteers. I need Matt to be able to quadruple himself because he is on Twitter and on Facebook and on YouTube, and there's another place. I don't know. There's a lot going on. We need help. Let me see. Sarah says, I fight very hard wanting to believe my memories are false still. Yes, Sarah, I've done this I've done the same thing. I've cried many tears. I've cried many tears actually to your sweetheart. Like, it can't all be real. It just can't all be real. It just can't. It can't. Yeah, Amber says, I wanted to believe I was crazy rather than believe my memories. Accepting them as truth is one of the hardest grieving processes I've ever been through. Me too. Oh my goodness. I know, Matt, would you please Google pickleball? Because Liz, it's probably Liz. Liz is a pickleball advocate, and I told her I put pickleball. Yeah, see, now I don't know what pickleball is. Liz, I never Googled pickleball. Okay, sidebar. So I'm gonna go back over here. Amber says, I'm finally seeing huge progress, and I'm at the point where I'm struggling with being comfortable being this new me with my friends and my family. I am different, and while the relationships are healthy, I'm not reacting and being the same as I was. I keep wanting to regress just to be comfortable. Oh my gosh, I just had a conversation about this today. We have come to really like identify with our like wounded selves, and that I don't want that to sound derogatory. It's not like if we're living with mental illness, which if you're on this channel you might be, you were likely abused as a child, maybe even sexually abused, emotionally, verbally, physically, financially, religiously, cult, whatever it was. You're here, you were abused. So it's not what's wrong with you. It's what happened to you. And what happened to you is that you've incurred an injury, likely a brain injury. And when we've incurred a brain injury, we identify with that. It's like this thing that we get used to, and we're like, okay, I have these limitations. These limitations are what I live with now. I live in the confines of these limitations. Okay, I get it, I get it. And then we start getting these tools in our toolbox, and we learn how to heal. And then all of a sudden, we're not feeling these limitations anymore. We're like, whoa, 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 I just broke into another orbit. What is this? There's all this wide, expansive space. Like, where do I go? What do I do? Holy moly. And you start feeling free. And we're afraid to actually break through into that new orbit, because here in our wounded state, because of what happened to us, because of the injury we incurred and the limitations that we've been living with, we've made a lot of friends. Like, oh my gosh, you too? Wait, you too? And if like the first time you've ever really felt comfortable in your entire life, and the first time you ever felt a sense of belonging is here on our channel or in our groups, there are thousands of you. There are literally thousands of you that all support one another. Like, you can't refute that. Look at the numbers. Look at the numbers on Twitter. Look at the numbers on Facebook. Look at the numbers on YouTube. Look at the numbers in our groups, all the groups. Like, there are thousands of us supporting one another. Like, picture in your mind a support system of thousands of people. Like, these are my peeps. Yeah. And then we start getting healthy, and we're like, but we see all of our peeps and all of our friends and everybody who's supported us, they're like still like, they're not there yet. They're still struggling. They still have more memories. They're all in a different stage. We're all in a different stage of our recovery. Like, I still get triggered if I see like scary images, or like I can't watch previews to movies that are scary movies. Or like there was a one of our peeps, one of our gals, one of our friends, one of our family posted pictures of like, they were like scary images, but they were meant to be funny. I was horrifically triggered by it, actually. I didn't say, I'm horrifically triggered by this. Like, I just skipped past it. And then it ended up being a thing where like more people were triggered by these images. And it was really hard, because everybody's at a different stage of their recovery. And so what we can do, Amber, is we can get so sort of comfortable with like the identity that we have come to understand and like, and we finally start to like ourselves, right? Like, hey, check me out, I'm doing well. And then we're afraid to progress. We're afraid to move forward. We're afraid to break out of this orbit, because what about all of our friends? And like, they won't like us anymore because we're not broken anymore. And what we're learning through all these years that everybody's been healing together, and there's thousands of us now, that's not the case. Like, I just had a conversation today with someone, and they broke into this new orbit, and they still have all their friends, and we still love them. We're cheering them on. We're like the head of the fan club. We're like, go, go, go. Yeah. you know, and it can be very frightening to heal and to move into a different orbit because we're so comfortable and accepting, and we finally feel loved for like who we are for the first time. We finally feel safe. So I just want to let you know that I identify with that, and that is so, so, so common. And Amber, I've wanted to regress so that I can be comfortable too. I can't tell you, Amber, I just want to look at you in the face right now. I'm just going to get out of these questions and I'm going to look at you in the face. Amber, or wait, are you on Facebook? Amber, can I tell you how many times I have told my community members or my therapist or my coach, like, I miss them. I'm talking about my abusers. I miss them. I miss them. I miss them a lot. I miss their laugh. I miss how dorky and silly they were. I miss these funny things. I miss that. I miss this. Like, it's called trauma bonding. Like, when you bond, like, that's the whole mind screw of familial abuse, intergenerational abuse, is you have a relationship with these people. They love you, or they say they love you, but there's like such horror and such trauma. And then you witness them being like, in certain ways, you see the good with the bad, and it's cognitive dissonance. Hey, if anybody can post the video on cognitive dissonance for Amber up on Facebook, oh girl, seriously, the dissonance, it really makes it hard because there's all this good and there's all this bad, and it's like, it would be so fun. Like, I think sometimes about like, it would be so awesome to just like go home for like Thanksgiving maybe. Like, wouldn't that be fun? And then I'm like, what the F are you thinking, Athena? Are you kidding me right now? Like, all those times you're at Thanksgiving and you're trying to get people to stop talking about your person who abused you when you were a child, and they just keep talking about him, and they're like, what are you talking about? You never told us you were abused. And I'm like, are you guys crazy? Like, I've told you 4 times and here you are talking about him, and it's really painful for me. And like, so yeah, like, I get it that it would be comfortable to sort of regress. It would be so comfortable to go back to the way it was, because there's good. Nothing is all good and all bad. Everyone is part good and part bad, you know, even our abusers. Unless it was a, you know, snatch you in the dark one-time situation where it was all a bad situation, chances are you have relationship with someone who abused you. You have good memories of them as well as the bad. And the cognitive dissonance that happens, Harriet, I know I can't do a YouTube card because I'm probably out of them by now, but below, could you please post a link to the cognitive dissonance video? Because man, you know, it's hard, you guys. Cognitive dissonance is a difficult one. It's just, there's such a mind screw that goes along with all of it. Besides the psychological warfare of gaslighting, and now you're dealing with dissonance. It's like, is it a wonder we stay stuck? So Amber, I hope that helps you. I hope that helps. Some of my family members, Jenna says, some of my members of my family often told me I was making my abuse up because I had a few minor details wrong. Like, we never had brown shag carpet when in fact it was brown and orange. Like, and I can't read the rest of your comment, Jenna. It's kind of cut off for some reason on Facebook. It cuts off the longer comments. But yeah, like oh my gosh, that's called gaslighting, folks. Gaslighting. So like, I remember saying to one of my abusers, like, don't you remember when this happened and this happened and this happened? And it was something crazy. Like, their response to me was, oh, that could have never happened because don't you remember we went to the beach that day? As though like going to the beach one day completely cancels out the thing that happened earlier on in the day, which was abusive, or later on in the day. Like, oh, that could have never happened. You're remembering it wrong, because don't you remember we went to the beach that day? Yeah, but we didn't go to the beach like for 24 hours. Like, there were other things that happened that same day that we went to the beach. It's like, oh, we didn't have brown shag carpet. It's like, great, like, really? You want to just shake them. Like, are you kidding me right now? Jenna, no. My Facebook page is not private. No, it's not private. It's not. If you need to go back and delete some of your comments, Jenna, go for it. Because It's not private. The Trauma Recovery University page is public, and you can go into our secret groups where it's all private if that helps you. Hopefully that helps you. So I'm going to go back to these questions here, and then I need to do some screen shares for you. Trina says, hi, Trina. I get into a little if I, then you'll love me mode. Oh, am I familiar with this? And I will pretty much self-destruct from doing everything. Yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah, I've done this. I've done this. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that I can say that I've done this, but not really, because this is a lived experience situation. Trina. Oh, girl. Bobby would call this lighting ourselves on fire to keep others warm. Which I found that quote on Instagram the other day, and I tagged Bobby in it. And I sent it, like, I thought I just tagged her publicly on Instagram, but then it went into some private message, so that was probably weird. But like, anyway, we will sacrifice our own sanity and our own well-being if we think it will gain us love and acceptance. Why? Because we were told as children through thoughts, words, and actions that if we blank, then we would be loved or accepted. If we blank when we were kids, we wouldn't get abused. If we were ABC and X, Y, and Z to the whole wide world, then things would maybe not be that bad. It's usually a ripoff. It doesn't ever really pan out the way we want it to. But that was what we told ourselves when we were kids so that we could survive. Because when we were children, if we actually told ourselves, younger version of myself, no matter what I do, no matter what I say, I'm still going to be abused. And I might not survive because abuse is deadly sometimes. And we surely would never have been able to make it. So what we told ourselves instead was, I know I'm the problem. If I just do this, and this, then I won't be abused anymore. That's it. Yeah. And they'll love me, and they'll like me, and they'll accept me, and they'll be nice to me, and they'll make sure that I have food and clothing and shelter, and it will be all right. Everything will be all right. And unfortunately, that was magical thinking, and childhood magical thinking rarely pans out. And that's really painful to think about because I've lived that so many times. And sadly, there are people out there in the world, some of them in our families of origin, our caregivers, our parents, our, uncles, aunts, siblings, you name it, that don't care about others. They exploit others to get their own needs met. They abuse others to get their own needs met. They have no self-control. They're not kind. They're not loving. They're not patient. And sadly, the people who suffer are the children. And now those children are adults struggling with mental illness. And we did need that hope to survive, Amber. You're right. Perfectly put, perfectly stated. I needed the hope to survive. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Megan says, cognitive dissonance. That is so me. I still can't get angry at my dad. I still jump up to compassion for him. Yes, I did that for so long. I still do sometimes. I still do. Megan, I still do. Dang it. It's really hard to call a spade a spade. It's really hard to call abuse abuse. It's really hard to just call it what it is. Because we just want to be loved, We just want to be loved. It's really hard. Sidra, the poet, almost the last question. I have 2 questions left, you guys, and then I got to do a screen share. Goodness Lord, how am I going to do a screen share for y'all in 6 minutes? Dang it. Sidra, the poet. Sid, I'm so happy you're here. What do you do if you're years into recovery and new problems emerge? Oh, Sid. Oh, girl. I'm so sorry. What do you do? Well, I will tell it to you like I tell some of my business coaching clients. And what you do is you pivot. You don't start over. It's not, oh, all my progress has just been deleted. Oh, this new thing is coming up. So all the good that I've done in my recovery is now poof, vanished. No. No, 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 no. That is not the case. Sid, we pivot. We pivot. We take every ounce of knowledge and resilience and strength and wisdom and all those tools in our tool belt, and we apply it to the new thing, the new anxiety, the new struggle, the new fear, the new pain in our chest, the new sickness in our stomach, the new hypervigilance that we're experiencing, the new PTSD symptom, the new. And also, Sid, it would be really helpful for you to possibly use the screen shares that I'm about ready to share. If you all could tweet out those 3 tweets that I tweeted at the beginning, just look for the hashtag no more shame, or look for the hashtag DBT. Hashtag DBT, that might not have as many tweets on it as of right now because we're in the middle of a chat. And there are 3 images. One of them is in a tracker sheet. The other one is wise mind, rational mind, or emotional mind, rational mind, wise mind. And then there, you know what? I'll do a screen share real quick. But these will help you, Sid. These will help you because you'll start to realize how resilient you really are and how much you really know. And it will help for sure. I'm sure that it will help. I'm hopeful that it will help. I want to say I'm sure, but I'll say I'm hopeful. Healing is cumulative. Yes. Good. Perfectly put, Matt. Yes. Matt wrote a really good post on healing being cumulative also, but healing is cumulative. It builds on itself. Progress builds on itself, and it helps us as we move forward in our recovery. Perfectly stated. Yes. Yes. And also, Sid, keep in mind that trauma is cumulative. So something has triggered you and it makes you feel like you have every single piece of your recovery journey weighing on you at this moment that needs to be handled right now. And that's not the case. It feels that way, but just give it a few moments. And it's like Bobby and I say, it's almost like pulling apart baklava and spaghetti and trying to find like one little piece of something that isn't covered in trauma. And it's really hard. But please be patient with yourself, Sid. Please be patient with yourself. Please be kind to yourself. And the same things that worked before work now. In other words, what used to work? Grounding skills, self-soothing, self-championing, self-love, patience, self-care. Those things all still work. They're all still applicable. And the more we are self-championing, the more that we are self-compassionate, the more we are self-loving, the more resilient we become and the less traumatized we feel. So, Sid, I hope that's helpful for you. Leanne Bowman, Shalise, hello. Or is it Chatless? Last question. When everything is going well and you feel hopeful, why does that feel so badly? Like progress is actually scarier, is escalated now. Is it now have something? Is it? I thought it was escalated. Maybe not. Is it something to have something to? I don't know what the last part of the question is, but I'm assuming what you're saying is it scarier to have something to look forward to? Like, why is it that when we actually feel hopeful that it feels scary? There's one word to this, and that is fear of the unknown. I guess that's not one word. It's just one statement. Like, is it because? Oh, here we go. Is it because now have something to? Yeah, I don't know. But it's new. Hope? What's hope? What is this? What is this thing you call hope? What is this hope you are speaking of? Hope. What is hope? What is hope? Yeah, it's scary because it's new, Leanne. Like, seriously. all of a sudden you're feeling hopeful and you're like, whoa, what is this? This is crazy. I don't know what this feels like. What is this thing? I have to take a drink of water, you guys. It's been like an hour. Sorry. Okay, I just drank 16 ounces of water in one sip. Sorry about that. If you're on a podcast and you're like, what's going on? Yeah, it's because it's scary. The reason it's scary is because it's unfamiliar. And I just want to encourage you, Leanne, to embrace that. Just embrace that change as you would embrace anything. I really just want to encourage you to go with it. Allow yourself, be patient with yourself. It's scary, but please don't run from it, because hope is something we need. Without hope, we can't do anything. Without hope, we can't heal. Without hope, we can't have faith. Without hope, we can't have joy. Without hope, we can't have progress. Without hope, we can't do anything. So please, please don't give up. I beg you. I'm hoping and praying that you won't give up. Just try to embrace the feeling of hope, even though it's scary. So, oh, good night, Amber. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, Sissy. Hi, Sissy. I didn't see you until just now. There are people who exploit others to get their needs met, abuse others to get their needs met. These sick people need to be held accountable. It really isn't hard to call abuse abuse. Oh, well, it is for us. It is for us, Sissy. When you're the person being abused, it's kind of hard to call abuse abuse, because like you want to believe that they're your loved ones and that they're not hurting you and that they didn't mean it. And like you tell yourself a bazillion different things in your mind. And but I agree with you. Like they do need to be held accountable. They totally do need to be held accountable. It's horrible. That's why I do all the work I do. And but it is hard when you're the person being abused. It's really difficult. Because accepting the reality that that is who you were raised by, or who you were, the family you were born into, or the person you married, or the boyfriend or girlfriend you have, or the whatever, fill in the blank, that is a really tough thing to swallow. So calling abuse sometimes is not, calling abuse sometimes is not easy, but we have to do it if we're ever going to heal. So thank you for being here, Sissy. I don't think I've ever met you before. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, screen shares, you guys. I need to be respectful of your time, so I'm going to go boom, boom, boom. I'm just going to I'm going to show you what the screen shares look like, and I'm going to tell you right now that if you want access to them, then search the hashtag No More Shame, and you will find them, or they will be posted as images on Twitter and on Facebook, and I will see if I can link them up on our website at nomoreshameproject.com. nomoreshameproject.com. But I want to show you the screen shares real quick. Okay. Screen share number 1. I believe, yes, you can see it. Okay. This is a chart to help you understand how rational and wise mind can help you examine a situation and react in a positive and self-nurturing way. So there's 3 columns for you all on Facebook. These images will be posted in a comment, and all you have to do is double click on the image as you would a picture, and then just save it to your phone. Just touch it and then click save image, or options, save image, and you'll be able to save it. And that way you can like, and if you want like a downloadable version of this like in Excel, then let us know and we'll get it to you. But yeah, there's 3 columns: emotional mind, rational mind, and wise mind. And you'll be able to easily tell where you're at if you break it down into 3 columns. Like, oh, I responded this way in this situation. I acted this way. I said these things and I did these things. Well, was that an emotional response? Was it a rational response? And then you can find out like, okay, well, if I was in my highest version of myself, or I was really seeking wisdom, what would wisdom tell me? If I were to ask wisdom, how should I have handled this situation? What is the wisest way I could have handled that situation? And then you catalog that. And there could be pieces of the way you responded to something that were a little bit of all three. Like, well, this part of the response that I had, this part of the way that I reacted was very emotional. But there were some rational aspects to it as well, because here are some facts. And then, you know what? There were moments when I really was very wise in the way that I was responding. I just had all this emotion tied to it, and I really want to be a little bit more rational and not so emotional. So that's a choice we can make. And these 3 sheets that I'm going to show you are all part of dialectical behavior therapy. And you can go to survivingmypast.net and go to downloads, and all 3 of these are on his website. Matt, in our community, has a blog called Surviving My Past, survivingmypast.net, and he has access, and it's just free. You get free access to all these sheets, and they really help you track your progress. So you know, am I making progress in my recovery? Am I really healing? Am I moving forward at all? Am I? I need to know. And so the more you track, the more you can look back and just date things and so forth. So let's see. I want to just look up on Facebook. I think, oh, there's still 5 of you. Yeah, that is so going to help you, huh, Liz? Okay, I'm gonna show you the next screen share now. The next one, here we go. This one here is Dialectical Behavior Therapy Diary. So this is a diary that you can do weekly, okay? You have a new page for every single week. So if you printed out 52 of these and you place them in a 3-ring binder, you would literally be in awe of how you respond and how you act and how you're really able to handle those situations that you're in throughout the week, throughout different weeks of your life, and how you tolerate the stress in your life, and when are you the most mindful, and when are you really able to regulate your emotions, and when are you the most assertive, and when are you able to really be, in wise mind, or when are you really the most rational and least amount of, showing the least amount of emotion. So I encourage you to print out 52 of these and place them in a 3-ring binder. You will, I promise you, capital W-I-L-L, you will make progress, and you will move forward in your recovery. It is impossible for you to do the small things in a big way on a daily basis and work on your daily habits and not make progress. It is an impossibility. So I hope that encourages you. And the third screen share and last screen share of the evening is right here. Oops, wait, is that the one I just did? Let me see if that was the one I just did. Oops, 1 second. Ooh. Oh, here it is. It's the third one I'm doing, and it is called the Thought Emotion Tracker. So here, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns, and there's a time and a date. There's where you are. There's your mood. What was the thought or emotion? It's a mood tracker. And then there's an alternative, neutral, or positive thought or emotion that, like, what you can come up with when you're more in rational and wise mind. Oh, thanks, Matt. Yes. Yeah, I'll post them up after the video for sure, you guys. Thank you so much. But this will definitely help you because these are dated. You won't need as many of these. You won't go through one of these like in a week probably. I mean, I didn't when I was using these. I don't know. Like at first I did. At first I used like 2 sheets a day because I was like everywhere I would go. What was my mood? What was I thinking? What did I say? Where did I go? Da, da, da. And I used a lot. But then after a while, it's amazing. Once you start tracking this stuff, automatically it just becomes like breathing. Like you're like, all of a sudden you're in rational and wise mind way more often, and you don't even realize it. And that's why tracking is so powerful. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing this and look at you guys in the face now. But that's why tracking and is so powerful, because you never know how much progress you are making until all of a sudden you've tracked it all, and you're like, wow, look at how I was sort of responding. I remember that week. That was Valentine's week. I hate Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day sucks. Like, I personally got served divorce papers on Valentine's Day. Me, Athena, hello. Yeah, that was a painful Valentine's Day for me, folks. So it was like very triggering for me for quite some time. But like you'll track your stuff and you'll go, oh my gosh, I remember exactly what was going on. And like, look, I had a similar situation happen this week, and look at how I acted without even thinking about it. It just happened that way. And it didn't just happen. I want to encourage you guys to realize that the more you are tracking your emotions and your responses and your progress, and you're actually writing it down, you're going to notice how much you're growing and how much you're moving forward in your recovery. You just will. So it has been such an honor to spend this 90 minutes with you. I want to be very, very respectful of your time and let you all go, because 90 minutes is a long time to sit through, talking about trauma. So please be very kind to yourselves. Please be very kind to yourselves, you guys up there on Facebook. I see some of you already went to sleep and you guys have already left. So I only have a few people left on Facebook Live. I'm so happy. Let me know below in the comments if this Facebook Live thing was something that you want me to continue to do. It just makes sense. Like, why wouldn't I? So yeah, I'm hoping that these things are good for you. Like, if I'm like live on Facebook, live on YouTube, and then there's the Twitter chat going on, and there's all the YouTube comments and everything. So it's been an honor to be here with you guys, and I'm super grateful for you spending time here. So my name is Athena Moberg, and I just love helping you guys break the cycle of abuse in your life. Why? Because we are worth it. That's why. Okay? Because we're worth it. So 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, every single Monday, right here, right there. And I love it. Oh, good. I'm so glad, Liz. Okay, so I'm already getting comments from you guys that you guys like the Facebook Live thing, so maybe I'll continue to do it. Okay, well, thank you so much for being here, you guys. I love you guys. I'm so grateful for each of you. So continue to track your progress. Please, please, please download these. Go to survivingmypast.net and go to downloads and download these and keep them. Save them to your computer. Save them to your phone. Use them in your recovery journey so you will know if you're moving forward, if you are moving forward in your recovery, because you deserve it. We deserve it. We're worth it. Okay, bye guys. See you next Monday.